Hey, very good afternoon. Welcome, everybody. Today is the 24th of January. We are on the contact session number 5. Today, we're going to be talking about availability management. Due to network issues, I'm not able to turn on my camera, and I promise I will do that next week. So thank you very much for the wonderful souls for wishing me good afternoon. I really appreciate it. This shows that you're all active. It shows you're all respecting the professor, the teacher. My request. There are still a lot of people who have not come out of the shell and not wishing us good afternoon. We will hope and pray that one day they will also start responding. So you confirm whether my screen is visible. I may have not shared the screen. Let me share the screen again. Yeah, is my screen visible? You're able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
All good? Just confirm on the chat window for me, please.
Yes, sir. Screen is visible
Okay,
and
thank
you're
you.
on.
It's on the line. All right, so let's go with a positive point for today, where we are going to talk about fear and how to handle it. Most often, our lives are wasted in fear. In order to drive away the darkness from his house, a foolish person was found carrying out bucket loads of darkness and emptying them. His preoccupation with driving out the darkness took him nowhere. Darkness is the absence of light. If only he had attempted to light a small lamp, darkness would have disappeared. Fear is also similar to darkness. Absence of love is fear. Once a lamp of love is lit, fear would disappear. The love between a man and a woman, how does it blossom? Love is generally born out of trust between a man and a woman. If two of them do not trust each other, there can be no love or affection between them. If you listen to the story and you reflect on the incident of the life of Mullah Nasruddin, a very famous character in the Sufi literature. So Mullah Nasruddin was married in the morning. The same night, he and his wife were traveling in a boat across a river. Along with their relatives, they were traveling. A sudden storm broke out and the river was turbulent. The boat rocked wildly. Everyone in the boat, including the bride, was in mortal fear. They were going to die. But Nasruddin remained very calm. The bride noticed this and she asked him in surprise. She asked him, "Aren't you afraid?" The mullah, without replying, took out the dagger from his waistband and he raised it as though he was going to slit the throat of his wife. There was no reaction on her face. He asked, "Are you not afraid of the dagger?" And she said, "The dagger might be dangerous, but the person who's holding it is my loving husband, so I am not afraid." Exactly, said Mullah Nasruddin. Said, "These waves may be dangerous, but Allah, who's moving them, is full of love. So I'm not afraid," told Nasruddin. Mullah Nasruddin had faith in Allah. You might have faith in Krishna, Jesus. Doesn't matter. Guru Govind, doesn't matter. It was the love and the compassion and the faith. Faith without love and compassion. Nasruddin would have also trembled with fright, just like others in the book. If we are afraid in our lives, it only means that we do not trust the existence. So, please remember, never have mortal fear. The God was kind enough, as per Rabindranath Tagore, he says, long before you were born in this world, God was compassionate. He provided so many things for you to enjoy in this world. So trust me, he may well have created another world for you, even after death, all the best things there. So have faith. We can only advise all those who are afraid. Plan for your future. There is no harm in that. But your fear about the future would only ruin your happiness. So there's a difference. Planning for future and fearing for future. You should never be God-fearing. You should be God-loving. So instead of conjuring very bad images of fearful events, like what if I fail in the examination, and you spend time weakening yourself, use it to fruitfully prepare for the exam and pass the examination. Ladies and gentlemen, life is a series of examinations. We need to pass them with flying colors. This is the gift we can offer to God. Faith does not move mountains, trust me, but gives the power to claim one. So have faith, have compassion, have love, your life changes. With that, let's get into business. Today we are on contact session number 5. Recording started. Inform the students to be alert. If not, be ready to be marked as absent. Availability management is about introduction, definition, differentiating availability from uptime, slow response from downtime, availability from high availability. Next week, we will be talking about the bottom part. This week, we'll be looking at all this plus fantastic case studies to help you relate the desired traits of the availability process owner, 7 Rs. All this will be dealt with next session. Let's start with the definition and the introduction of the availability. We'll be going through these 12 ITSM processes in the weeks to come. Think, definition of availability is if the system is up and running, it is available to them. Analogy is the telephone system. Availability is the process of optimizing the readiness of production systems by accurately measuring, analyzing, and reducing outages to those production systems. So we are speaking about the CIA triad, which is the confidentiality, integrity, and availability. It talks about the process of optimizing the readiness of the production systems. So what is the simplest way to distinguish the terms availability and uptime? If you look at it, availability is oriented towards the customers and uptime is oriented towards the suppliers. The job of a system administrator is to keep the server hardware and the software up and operation. If we look at uptime, it's a measure of the time that individual components within a production system are functionally operating. So what is availability, Sarji? Availability is the process of optimizing the readiness of the production system by accurately measuring, analyzing, and reducing the outages to those production systems. So when I talk about availability, you will hear several other terms and expressions that are closely associated with the term availability. So the term availability includes uptime, downtime, slow response, high availability. So we look at a clear understanding how their meanings differ from one another can help bring the topic of availability into sharper focus. So we will look at the different meanings and we'll start off with a small case study which will be taken throughout this session to apply the different concepts that we are going to look at in terms of availability for your better understanding. So we know that there are 12 key processes which are planned for discussion as a part of ITSM. Of this is first is availability management. Why? Availability is one key process that a system or IT service will work as required, may be driven by SLAs when required during the period when it needs to be used for a purpose. Availability is the assurance to the users of the services and infrastructure. So what is the goal? Goal is to meet the agreed levels of functioning of the services and hence the infrastructure supporting the needs of the business cost effectively, consistently, and with a single contact for availability. Infrastructure components will definitely have a downtime. So the focus of availability will be to optimize timely recovery from outages to services. Methods to reduce the frequency and the duration of these outages. And it involved optimizing systems to measure, analyze, and reduce outages to these production systems. Is availability a big problem? Should I really worry about it? Maybe a question that can linger in the minds of some of you. Let me put across a question for you, which tells you how much is involved for processing of an online transaction. You can see that the 10 of the most common entities that come into play when it comes to an online transaction. You start with the data center facility, server hardware, server system software, application software, disk hardware, database software, network software, network hardware, desktop software, desktop. So you see that it's not one single component that's sitting there. It's multiple components and hardware and software. All of them needs to be available. And even if one single component in the chain fails, you're done deal. Your online transaction is kaput. You agree, right? So that's why availability is of great importance. Before I go into this next topic, let me take you into an interesting start off with a case study. Immediate applicability. That's what I promised, right? When we started off, all of you voted for that. That's the promise. I'm trying to keep up. You try to keep up your promise of being active and alive in the sessions. So the case study that we're going to talk about is a golden pulp crisis. IT availability management. Golden Pulp is based in Ratnagiri in India. It's a food processing mango pulp extraction company. What do? They process premium Alfonso mangoes. The mango season is short. During this time, the factory runs 24/7. Speed is everything because mangoes rot quickly if not processed. They have a technical stack. They have an IoT and a software. IoT cameras, smart cameras scan every mango on the conveyor belt and black spots or rot. They have automated sorters to kick bad mangoes off the belt based on the camera data. Then they have the juicer master server, a central software system that controls the speed of the belt, tracks the temperature, and manages the inventory. First is uptime, happy path, the period when the system is functioning correctly and it's accessible to users. It's 10 a.m. on Monday, trucks full of fresh mango arrive. The IoT cameras are scanning 500 mangoes per minute. The Juice Master software is logging data without errors. Production is hitting 100% capacity. In this scenario, the system status is available. The factory plans 24 hours. Uptime is 100%. The goal of every IT man. So available, uptime. Super. Downtime. The disaster. The period when the system is unavailable. Or fails to perform its primary function. At 2 p.m., the main internet cable to the factory is cut by a construction worker. The IoT cameras cannot send data to the cloud server to verify the mango quality. The Juice Master software freezes. The conveyor belt automatically stops as a safety measure. Impact: 5 tons of mangoes are sitting on the belt. The factory temperature rises. The belt doesn't move for 4 hours. The mangoes will spoil. System is now unavailable. System is broken for 2 hours out of 24-hour life cycle. Availability calculation is 22 divided by 24 times 100. 91.6% is often considered as a poor score for critical systems. Slow response. System is available, but it's a silent killer. The system is technically up, but it is responding so slowly that it disrupts the operations. It has very high latency. The internet is fixed, but the connection is weak. IoT cameras take pictures. Normally, the software will respond in 0.1 seconds. Now it is taking 3 seconds to say whether the mango is good or bad. Now the conveyor belt has to slow down. Instead of processing 500 mangoes a minute, they're only processing 50 mangoes a minute. Technically, there is no downtime because the system hasn't crashed. However, the service is degraded. Availability is on. Response is too slow. It's effectively the same as downtime, but the uptime statistics will look good. high availability is your solution. So I want to design a system with backup components, redundancy, so that it operates continuously without failure for a long time. So after the disaster last year, the Gold Pulp CEO hires an IT architect and they implement a high availability architecture. So the redundancy, they buy 2 Juice Master servers. If server A crashes, server B takes over instantly. They move the IoT processing from cloud to a local server inside the factory. So even if the internet line is cut, the cameras can still talk to the robot. Next season, the local edge server keeps running the cameras. The factory doesn't stop. The cloud connection is down, but the production is up. So high availability costs more money, ladies and gentlemen, because you're buying 2 servers, but it acts as an insurance. Standard availability is a single point of failure. If X breaks, we stop. High availability is not a single point failure. If X breaks, Y takes over. So summary, uptime, the belt is moving, mangoes are becoming pulp, functional and accessible. Downtime, the belt is stopped, mangoes are rotting, system not accessible. Slow response, belt is moving, slow motion, system accessible by high latency, high availability, having a spare generator and a spare belt motor. Architecture eliminates single point of failure. Fantastic. Moving on to the next concept. I hope you're able to enjoy this flip-flop so that when we talk and then we apply, right? Now I'm differentiating availability from high availability. So the primary difference between the availability and high availability is that high availability is designed to tolerate virtually no downtime, zero downtime. So this type of environment is often referred to as being a fault tolerant system. So you will probably have these kinds of systems in the airplanes. They need to have fault tolerant systems. So the method of measuring availability, the percentage of system availability, is a very common measurement. So what is the formula? When I talk about the formula for calculating the percent availability or the percent uptime, as it is sometimes referred to, percent availability uptime is equal to the hours agreed upon minus hours down divided by the hours agreed up. If you look at this example, Monday to Friday, I am supposed to be up from 6 a.m. to midnight. So that is 18 hours, right? 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is 12 hours. 6 p.m. to 12 p.m. is another 6 hours. So that will give you 18 hours. 5 days a week, 5 into 18 is equal to 90 hours. Saturday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. you are expected to be alive. That's 10 hours. So 90 plus 10 is 100 hours. I'm looking at a low level of availability. 90% of 100 hours is 90 hours. If I'm looking at a high level of availability, 95% of 100 hours is 95 hours. Next week, we are going to go into the traits of the availability process owner. Here we are just only seeing a slide which tells you that the availability process owner is expected to have very high knowledge of system software components, network software and components, database systems, power and air conditioning systems, and he or she should have the ability to think and act tactically. You look at these two and then we will go to the I have some examples. How does the availability management process work? It basically takes the business availability requirements and outputs availability and requirement design criteria. Business impact assessments come out as infrastructure resilience and risk assessment. Availability and reliability comes out as agreed targets for availability. Incident problem data comes out as report of availability. Configuration and monitoring data comes out as availability monitoring. Service level agreements come out as availability improvement plans. I want to do some sample percent uptime calculation. So these are the types of questions you can expect in examinations. So please pay attention, practice a few questions. They'll give you a case study. And based on the case study, you will have to be smart enough to extract these information and then process. I'm asking if this scenario meets the goal of 99.99%, 9% uptime. So I told you, we have a weekly agreed uptime of 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So 24 times 7 is 160 hours. I want to measure for 4 rolling weeks, continuously for 4 weeks. I have given a total agreed uptime. I told them my system will be up for 672 hours. The downtime that happened was 3 hours. The percent uptime I need to calculate uptime minus downtime divided by uptime. 672 minus 3 divided by 672, where the percentage is 99.6. But what I promised is 99.9, but I ended up with 99.6. Did I meet the goal? No, I did not. If it is 99.5%, 50 hours of time, 6 rolling weeks. So 6 into 50, 300, downtime 1.5. So I'm arriving at 99. Did I meet the goal? Yes. Same thing here. So this is one example for you to look at and work with it so that if you get similar questions, it will not be this simple and straightforward. All this will be put into a case study and you will have to decipher, pull these numbers out and then answer the question. It will be easy. The rules of nines, we'll talk about it. As the number of nines go up, the availability also will go up, as you can see. If it is 1 9, the weekly downtime is 10 hours. If it is 2 nines, the weekly downtime is 1 hour. If it is 3 nines, the weekly downtime is 1 hour, 6 minutes. If it is 4 nines, this, 100 hours and 6 minutes. This is 10 hours. I'm sorry, 0.10 hours and 0.60 minutes, and 999, it's 0.001 hours, 0.06 minutes. I'll tell you exactly that calculation in a minute. Okay, so let's go back and look at some examples and come back with regards to the calculation and the 5 nines. Let me just. Go to the case study. So if you let me log the meeting. Excuse me. So let's do this for the golden pulp. Daily availability calculation. Scenario 1. During the peak mango season, the factory operates on 24-hour cycle. On Monday, the juice master system crashed due to power outage and remained down for 3 hours. What was the availability percentage? Answer 87.5. How? Total time 24 hours, downtime 3 hours, 24 minus 3, 21 hours. 21 divided by 24 times 100 is 87 points. Then the 3-9 target. Golden Pulp wants to achieve the 3-9 availability for the upcoming week. So of the 168 hours. So what is the maximum amount of downtime that one can afford for the entire week to meet this goal? So you can get a question in the exam like this. Answer is 10 minutes. How? If the availability is 99.9 minutes, then how much is unavailable downtime is allowed? 100 minus 99.9%, which is 0.1%. So if you calculate 0.1% of 168 hours, which is 0.001 into 168 will give you 0.168 hours. You convert the 0.168 hours into minutes, you will get 10.08 minutes. So they can only afford to go down by 10 minutes of downtime. Then the high availability failover problem. The factory implements high availability with a secondary server. The main server fails and it is down for 4 hours. Over the secondary server takes over instantly and runs production for those 4 hours. So what is the service availability calculation for this period from the business perspective? Answer is 100% because when one system was down, the other system picked up. Hence, the service remained available. Slow response. Next question is, the system is technically online. So all of this are your clues to your exam. So when it comes close to the exams, you don't have to ask me, sir, what type of questions will appear. I'm already telling you a lot of clues. It's up to you to pick it up. So the system is technically online for a full 24 hours. However, due to high network latency, it processes mangoes at 10% of the normal speed. So what is the technical availability percentage? Technically, it's available 100%, but the performance is slow. But availability is 100%. Monthly calculation. In a standard 30-day month, 720 hours total, the factory experienced 2 distinct failures. A hardware failure lasted for 2 hours. A software failure lasted for 5.2. So the question that comes to you is, calculate the total availability percentage for the month. How will you calculate that? You will calculate in such a way that 2 hours plus 5.2 hours. Totally, it was down by 7.2 hours. Calculate the downtime percentage. 7.2 divided by 720 into 100, which is 1%. So 100 minus 1, the system was available for 99%. Okay. These are some of the things that you should work on. Comprende, capisce, comprende, capisce. Now, if you look at your chat window, it explains the 999. 999, sorry, the 5 nines, which represents an elite standard of high availability, allowing for only 5.26 minutes of downtime per year. So it is a golden standard in the IT and the networking industry, manufacturing, and it requires significant redundancy. Otherwise, you cannot keep up 99.9%, 99%. Right? So downtime breakdown, approximately 0.864, 0.864 seconds daily, 26.28 seconds monthly, or 5.26 minutes yearly is what is allowed. So you will require a fully redundant system. The applications often used for critical services like banking, telecommunications, or high purity gold. 5 nines is 10 times more reliable than 4 nines. Amazing, isn't it? Cost is also long. It's also expensive and considered a long shot due to high cost of near perfect infrastructure. Uh, all right. Infrastructure availability percentage. We'll calculate, but this heading is wrong here. Here it talks about the configuration items, scope. So the infrastructure availability. The next point that we're going to be talking about is downtime really a big problem? Will it cost companies a lot of money? Say, you look at this slide. Different types of business lose different types of. If you look at an automated teller machine, medium-sized bank, the cost per hour of downtime is 14,500. Package shipping services, 28,250. Telephone ticket sales, $69,000. Airline reservation, some small airline, 89,500. You see on the bottom, Amazon, 1 hour of downtime on a prime day may will cost it between 72 million and 99 million in lost sales. So let's take a look at the cost of downtime. So what is the cost of downtime? And you'll see in this example how the cost changes depending on the situation. The cost of downtime is the total monetary loss of a company or a company suffers when its systems are unavailable. It is not just about lost sales. It includes wasted salary, penalties, and recovery costs. So what's the formula? COD is lost revenue plus lost productivity plus recovery cost plus intangible cost. So what is the lost revenue? The product you did not make or sell. Lost productivity, paying employees who are sitting idle. I need recover overtime to pay to IT staff to fix it. Intangible cost, brand damage, loss of customer, bad reviews. Let's say this Golden Pulp Limited at Ratnagiri, standard production rate is 5 tons of pulp per hour. Selling price 50,000 rupees per ton. I'm producing 5 tons per hour. So per hour, I'm making 2.5 lakhs. 40 workers on the floor. I pay them an average of 200 rupees an hour. What happens? For the exact same failure, 4-hour server crash. If it is a peak season, it is May 15th, the peak of Alfonso season, the factory is running 24/7, 100% capacity, the juice master server crashes for 4 hours. What will be my impact? Factory cannot produce pulp, mangoes are getting wasted, 40 workers are sitting idle. Lost revenue 10 lakhs. Wasted inventory 40,000. Loss of productivity 30,000. Recovery costs 15,000. My total damage is close to 11 lakhs. During peak operations, revenue loss is the biggest factor. See here. Off season. The mango season is over. They are just doing a scheduled backup. When you're doing a scheduled backup, the server crashes for 4 hours. It will lose production, zero. Idle labor, zero. Only 2 security guards. Recovery, internal IT manager has to stay late. Loss of revenue, nothing. Wasted inventory, nothing. Here I'm spending 4,400. Context matters. The same technical failure costs 99% less when the business urgency is low. The silent failure. Quality reputation cost. The server did not crash. Instead, the connection to the cameras was on and off, intermittent connection. The line kept moving, but the cameras failed to identify rotten mangoes. 20 tons of pulp were produced, which contained 10% rotten fruit. The entire batch is shipped to major client. The client tests and finds rot mangoes, rejects and charges a penalty. I lost 10 lakhs in revenue, 50,000 in logistics, contract penalty 2 lakhs, brand damage 5 lakhs, 17 lakh 50,000. A partial failure because of bad quality can be more than a total failure, right? Because it damages your reputation and you end up paying penalties. This is comparison. Okay, what are the factors that is influencing 100% availability? Some of the factors that work against the goal of 100% availability. So the ultimate expression of high availability include the following: the budget limitations, component failures, faulty code, human error, flawed design, natural disasters, unforeseen business shifts, mergers, downturns, political changes. So many things affect the high availability. So this loss and downtime, let's look at another use case for a specific type of business. We have a manufacturing plant who is an automobile manufacturer. A large automobile manufacturer plant experiences 3 hours of unplanned downtime. Why? Because a critical equipment failed on the production line. So the factors contributing to the loss: the plant produces 100 cars per hour. The average revenue per car is 3 lakhs. For 3 hours of downtime, the production loss is 3 hours into 100 cars is 300 cars. The total revenue lost that weren't produced is about 90 lakhs. Right? Sorry, I'm my bad. 9 crores, not 90 lakhs. It's 90 followed by 6 zeros. 900 lakhs. The plant employs 500 workers. Average hourly wage 300 per worker. Wages paid during this downtime is 4.5 lakhs. Equipment repair 5 lakhs. Penalty for delays in the dealership 10 lakhs. Impact: customer dissatisfaction due to delayed deliveries, which can lead to potential long-term losses. Hard to quantify. So revenue loss 90 and 9 crores. Idle wages for 4.5 lakhs. Repair cost 5 lakhs. Penalties 10 lakhs. For 3 hours of downtime, the company ended up losing 1 crore 9 lakh 50,000. So this example very clearly illustrates how downtime can create a ripple effect, impacting production, revenue, contracts, and long-term customer relationships. There is an example of the loss caused due to downtime for an IT business. I'm a cloud service provider who's offering a software as a service company. I'm hosting their critical business applications, including database, workflow. The company experienced 2 hours of unplanned downtime due to major network outage. So some of the factors that contribute to the loss is the SLA penalties. The company has agreements with clients guaranteeing 99.9% uptime. If this uptime isn't met, the company must compensate clients with SLA breach. If downtime exceeds the allowable limits, each client is compensated 10,000. Number of affected clients 50. 50 clients into $10,000 is $500,000. Lost revenue, 500 clients, you're losing $500,000. Reputation damage due to downtime, many clients experience business disruptions. Long-term damages, some clients might leave the service. If 2% client churn is there, that's 10 clients. So you lose another $500,000. Cost of recovery in IT fixes will cost you around $200,000. Employee productivity lost 100,000. So 2 hours of downtime in Indian rupees is costing them around 90 crores. That's how much downtime can cost you, and that's how much why availability is the so key and with proper function. Revenue loss from clients not being able to use the service, revenue loss, penalties, SLA penalties, long-term impact due to lost customers, repair and recovery costs, and productivity loss. How do I differentiate availability from uptime? So uptime is a measure of time that individual components within the production system are functionally operating. So this contrasts to availability, which focuses on production system as well. Say, for example, the server component has the subcomponents of processor, memory, and channels. So most of the major components shown have multiple subcomponents, and many of those have subcomponents of their own. And depending upon how detailed we wish to be, we could easily identify 40 to 50 entities that come into play during the processing of an online transaction in a typical IT environment. So this we have already seen. Same thing. What causes non-availability? There is something called a single point of. If you look at this picture, can you tell me which is the single point of failure in the system? Which component in this picture is a single point of failure? Can one of you type it in the chat or unmute and tell me? Which is the single point of failure product in this picture? Very easy, and it is written there. It is rounded. Red color round is given, and is you just write down, you write the name of that device, which is the which can cause a single point of failure. Zero interaction. Nobody wants to say anything. Zero interaction. You're not able to understand my question? In the slide that is in front of you, please tell me the device which can cause the single point of failure. Is it the system? Is it the router? Is it the application server? Is it the laptop? Which one? Oh, don't answer the question. Be quiet. Or are you guys answering? I don't see it. Thank you. Excellent. Jishan Nizami. Thank you. Yes, it's a router. That's your single point of failure. So this one single component failing is going to kill the entire communication between the application server and all the systems. So the part of the system that if it fails, will stop the entire system from working. So this is a very complicated, way of exactly how it connects and what is the redundancy and availability full architecture. So we told you availability involves so before we do this availability process, we go back. So here we are bringing in to illustrate the difference between the technical uptime and the service availability can do. In ITIL and system design, a system can have 100% uptime, but still be unavailable to the users. What? What are you saying, sir? System is up, but unavailable to the user. All right. Let's look at this few interesting slides that are coming up, pages that are coming up. Case one is called as a ghost connection, high uptime, low availability. The Juice Master server is housed in a secure data center in Mumbai. It is running perfectly. The CPUs are 10%, the database is healthy, and the power is on. Technical status, server uptime, 100%. But back in the factory at Ratnagiri, the local Wi-Fi router that connects the factory floor to the internet has malfunctioned. The workers on the floor are holding their tablets, trying to scan the mangoes, but the app just says connecting. The IT manager's view, uptime, he says, my dashboard is all green, server is up and running perfectly, I have met my SLA. Factory manager's view, my workers are standing idle, we cannot scan a single mango, the system is down for us. Uptime is 100%, the component is working, availability is 0%, the service is not delivered. So availability includes the entire path to the user. The network bridge breaks, the perfect server is useless. The smart maintenance, low uptime, high availability. The IT team needs to install a critical security patch on the Juice Master server. They want to restart this, that will take 2 hours. They schedule the restart on Sunday for 4 a.m. because the factory is closed on Sunday mornings for deep cleaning. So no mangoes are being processed, no one is logging in. IT manager's view uptime, the server was off from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. We lost 2 hours of uptime. Factory manager's viewpoint availability, I didn't even notice it. When my shift started at 8 a.m., everything was working. As far as I'm concerned, the system was available. See how beautifully this flip-flops. The verdict is uptime reduced, the machine was technically off, availability 100%. It was available during agreed service hours. So planned downtime, the lesson for us is the planned downtime usually does not count against availability if it happens outside the business hours. Availability is measured against the required time, not the total time. So broken Wi-Fi, server was running, user experience icon work, uptime calculation 100%, availability 0%. Availability depends on access. Sunday patch, rebooting, I am asleep, I don't care, dropped, 100% service not required. So let's take a role play here about the type of conversation that can happen between and what you should derive on what you should do and what you should not do. One of you confirm if the quiz is visible, please. The quiz must be active. One of you confirm if the quiz is visible. Thank you. So the role play, in case one where one plays the IT manager who looks at green dashboards and other plays the factory floor manager unable to work. The scenario highlights the disconnect between green dashboards and real world impact. So the green dashboard fallacy. So Arjun, IT manager, is sitting in a cool, quiet office in Mumbai. He's looking at a large monitor with all green lights. He's calm and confident. Priya, the factory manager, is standing on the hot, noisy factory floor in Ratnagiri. She is stressed, surrounded by shouting workers and rotting mangoes. Priya calls Arjun on the phone. The factory has been stopped for 20 minutes. She says, Arjun, we are dead in the water here. The Juice Master app is frozen. I have 50 workers standing around doing nothing. So Arjun says, I'm looking at the dashboard right now. The server is running 100% healthy. CPU is low, memory is fine. There is no downtime. Riya says, I don't care. My tablet says connecting and spins. We can't scan the crates. If we can't scan, the belt won't move. The belt don't move, the mangoes turn into, mush, which is rotten in an hour. Arjun says, look, I can run a ping test right now. I can see 0 packet loss to the mainframe. My uptime report for this month is going to be perfect. Maybe your users are putting a wrong password. So now Ria gets really frustrated. Says, it's not the password, Arjun. We are down. Availability is 0. I'm losing 50,000 rupees every 10 minutes. If your server is so happy, then why is my factory crying? She says. Then Arjun says, technically the service is up. The problem must be at your end. Maybe the local Wi-Fi router is overheated. That is facilities problem and not an IT problem. Now, like Priya says, Arjun, listen to me. So the CEO, availability means making money. Right now, we are not making money. So as far as the business is concerned, your system is broken. Fix the router. I am logging this as 4 hours of downtime on your report. The moment she says that, Arjun gets nervous. He says, wait. If you're going to log in downtime, I'm going to lose my bonus because my bonus depends on 99.9% uptime. So then she says, then you need to find out why I can't reach the service. So who's right? Technically, Arjun is right about the server, but Ria is right about the business. What is missing metric? End-to-end availability. How do we fix this blame game? IT needs to monitor the local routers too, and not just the main servers. Guys, I asked a question. Is the quiz visible? Just say yes or no, please. So here is a service ownership checklist for Arjun. So this checklist will teach you in an IT service management, your job isn't just to keep the lights on, to ensure that the business can function. How to handle the crisis. Shift from my server is fine to let's get production running. Stop defending the dashboard, validate the impact, use the V language. Don't say, I hear you. If you can't scan, then there's a critical stoppage. We are losing money every minute. Let's fix this together. Troubleshoot the service, not just the server. Ask about the local Wi-Fi, run a test for the user perspective, check the ISP connection between Mumbai and Ratnagiri. My server is healthy, which means the breakdown is likely in the connection between us. I'm running a trace route to a factory to see where the drop is happening. Communication and action. Mobilize resources to restore the flow of mangoes. If it is local Wi-Fi, don't make Ria call the technician. You do it. Don't leave them guessing. Update the schedule. So ensure that the specific availability gap doesn't happen again. So even if it wasn't your server's fault, apologize for the disruption. Ria, I'm sorry for the stress today. I've added a new alert to my screen. So next time I'll know your Wi-Fi will be down even if you call. So service ownership means you own the result, not just the component. I fix the server, I restore the factory production, right? So we'll come back to this later. Thank you. Chika, Ramya, Vaishkumar, Balim. All right. Moving on. So every process, and specifically availability process, will need the process owner with some desired traits. We will look at that next week. Approaches to provide availability as a process. We look at the 7 R's, mechanism to assess the infrastructure availability, then streamlining and availability costs. The very common measurement, the percentage of system availability, is a very common measurement. So it is found in almost all service level agreements and is calculated by dividing the amount of actual time a system was available or the total time it was scheduled to be up. Say, for example, suppose an online system is scheduled to be up from 6 a.m. to midnight. The total time is 18 hours into 5 plus 10, which is 100 hours. When online systems first began, that 90 to 95% was common expected in 1970s. So in our example, it would mean that the system was up 90 to 95% hours per week, or more significantly down for 5 to 10 hours per week. So what is the formula? Percent available of time. Hours agreed minus hours down, hours agreed. So this is, we've already seen this, right? So customers will quickly realize, or the customers quickly realized, that 10 hours a week of downtime was unacceptable and began negotiating service levels of 98%. So as companies expanded worldwide and 24/7 systems became prevalent, the 99% level was questioned. So systems were needing round-the-clock support. 19% availability. These systems are down on average of 1.7 hours per week. Then became the 3 nines, then the 4 nines, and then the 5 nines. This is the rolling average calculation we already discussed. How do I differentiate between slow response from downtime? So slow response refers to unacceptably long periods of time for an online transaction to complete and return. Whether the period is unacceptable or not, it depends on the type of transaction. So for simple inquiries, it could be a 1 second response, may be slow. For complex computations, 2 to 3 second responses may be acceptable. So when you say slow response, it's usually a performance and tuning problem requiring highly trained personnel with specialized expertise. What can contribute to the slow response times? The growth of a database, traffic on the network, contention for disks, disabling of processor or portions of main memory inserts. So each of these conditions will require analysis, resolution. Basically, the users are not aware or normally unaware of these root causes and sometimes interpret extremely slow responses as downtimes. It does not really matter to the users whether the problem is due to slow software or slowly responding or malfunctioning hardware. Non-responsive transactions will irritate and infuriate the user as they expect quick, consistent response times. If you look at this, so slow response refers to unacceptably long periods of time for an online transaction. Downtime refers to the totally inoperability of the hardware device. So if you look at the time it takes to come back, right? So if you see here, the time, 4 milliseconds, 7 milliseconds, that's the time it takes to respond. Let's take a scenario where I want to differentiate slow response from downtime. Both can affect business operations, customer experience, but they have different impacts and different solutions. Let's take a question of e-commerce website. This company operates a large online marketplace where users make purchases, browse products, interact with customers. Slow response during high traffic sale event, the website's response time slows down significantly. The pages that load in 2 seconds takes 15 seconds. What is the impact? Users are frustrated. So they abandon the cart. The conversion rate drops. Loss in revenue. While the website is still operational, the slow response leads to fewer sales. Let's say 10% of the potential customers leave your website due to frustration. Brand reputation. Customers' dissatisfaction for slow loading times can lead to negative reviews. Temporary fix. Engineers may need to optimize servers and allocate more resources to handle traffic spikes. What are the solutions? Use load balancers, caching mechanism, or scaling up cloud resources to handle higher traffic. Now let's look at downtime. Downtime, the website goes completely offline due to server crash. The users cannot access it. Complete revenue loss. $100,000 in sales per hour. I have to give SLA penalties for the outage. Customer churn, long-term damages. IT team may need to work overtime or hire external consultant to resolve the issue, costing $4,000. Restoring service might involve fixing the server, network, and database. Could even require more in-depth troubleshooting. Differentiating the two. Availability is slow response. The website is technically available, but users face delays in their interactions. Downtime. The website is completely unavailable to users and no interaction is possible. Revenue impact leads to partial revenue loss as some customers may leave due to frustration. Downtime results in total revenue loss for the duration of the outage and no transactions can be made. Slow response, annoying for customers, but may not immediately drive them away. Downtime can damage customers. Slow response may be resolved by scaling the infrastructure. Downtime will require higher cost in-depth technical intervention. So slow response annoys users, affects partial revenue, but the service remains accessible. Downtime completely hits the operation. Differentiating between availability from high availability. When I say high availability, I'm designed to tell you there is virtually no downtime. So the uptime is measured by the hours agreed up minus hours down. So for a customer, the service is not usable, it's not available or down. That's availability. For a supplier, it is a problem with components resulting in outage, which is causative, which is uptime. The high availability and the availability, the difference is high availability is designed to tolerate virtually no downtime. All online computer systems are intended to maximize availability or minimize downtime. So this high availability refers to the design of a production environment where all the single points of failure are removed through redundancies. That's the beauty. So fault tolerance of a production environment where the hardware and software components are duplicated. You can see the hardware software components. You use this primary source and the default. Okay. So let me do this and then take you to my other slide. So using a case study, we're going to differentiate between availability and high availability. So online banking platform, you have is hosted on a single data center with basic redundancy. The system is generally reliable, but experiences occasional downtime for maintenance. So the website is available 99% of the time. This means it's only not available for 365 days, 3.65 days, 87.6 hours downtime. So standard availability means planned maintenance, unplanned downtime is expected, issues of server failures. When you look at the business impact during 87 of downtime, customers cannot access. So 1,000 transactions per hour, I'm losing 87,600 transactions in a year. Revenue loss is significant. But customers can churn due to dissatisfaction. But it's available, but if I make it highly available, I'm going to bring in robust architecture, load balancing, failover mechanisms, and redundancies. So with 99.99% uptime, I'm only losing 52.6 minutes of downtime per year compared to 87.6 hours of downtime. So redundant systems, with one system fails, another takes over. Data center experiences issues, traffic is automatic routed to the backup data, load balancing, continuous maintenance. So here, my business impact is 52 minutes. Instead of 87,600 transactions, I'll only lose 876 transactions per year. So difference between uptime percentage, system design, cost. So basically, basic operational uptime with potential more frequent. 7 hours, we will cover this in the next session in detail. Redundancy, reputation, reliability, repairability, robustness. This we have already calculated. You can get exam questions like this. How to calculate. Same thing. Let me just go back to my slide. So same example of the slow response. Let's finish this, then go back there. So two business scenarios where slow response, downtime. Slow system can be more dangerous than the downtime. Use master Weybridge system crashes completely. So I cannot weigh, the trucks cannot weigh, 0% functionality. Security guard immediately sees the screen is dead. He waves the truck to the manual lane. He uses a physical logbook. It takes 2 minutes per truck instead of 30 seconds. Throughput is reduced to 78%. He enters manually into the computer later. Psychology frustrating but decisive. Everyone knows the system is broken. So just to plan it. So downtime forces hard switch to a workaround. And the spinning wheel, slow response or latency. The weighing bridge is online, but a database error is causing the save wait button take 45 seconds instead of 1 second. 100% uptime, high latency. Security guard waits, weighs a truck, clicks save. You cannot switch to the manual logbook because the system is on. After 45 seconds, it works. Another 45 seconds. So throughput, the queue of the truck extends out to the main highway. Blocking traffic, chaos, drivers start honking. Guard stressed, makes mistake. No plan B. Because of the system is broken, he never switches to the manual log. Okay. The user frustration of the downtime versus the slow response. Frustration levels, downtime, it just goes up and just flattens because he goes to plan B. But in the slow response system, as you can see, the time also goes up, the frustration levels go up and they get trapped, right? So this is, I'll share this document with you. The FedEx case study, the impact of choosing the wrong availability estimation method. So there are orders from 1,000 to 10,000. Service level measurement was from 95% to 99.9%. But when the order grew to 1 million, the measurement was not revised to 99.9. So what happened is If it was 95, they will end up delivering a lot of packages, not overnight. So you need to adjust and choose the right availability method. So if it is 90, daily packages not delivered was 1 lakh packages. Because for 10K it was okay. Now they moved to 1 million. If I am at 99% availability, good, right? I don't think 99% is good. Still, I will lose 10,000 packet deliveries out of 1 million. If I add one more 9, it becomes 1,000. 4 nines out of 1 million packages, I will not only deliver 100 packages. If I'm doing the 5 nines, as I told you, which is very high redundancy, fantastic. I will not deliver 10 packages out of 1 million packages, which is awesome. So here, the high availability and high resilient application architecture example, the front user load balancers, app front end, etc. Why is high availability good enough? We always need disaster recovery or business continuity. So when businesses discuss how to minimize or mitigate risk, the topic can be challenging one. So one area of confusion that sometimes comes up is the difference between high availability, disaster recovery, and business continuity solutions. So these are actually 3 distinct ideas. High availability is per application environment, almost all time, typically defined as 5 nines. It relies on automation to avoid user impact. Disaster recovery focuses on getting IT infrastructure and processes up after catastrophic failure. Business continuity plan focuses on planning for adverse conditions, how a business responds, how it returns to normal, and what the new normal is. So if you take the high availability use case example of a cloud service provider who offers various services, you want to provide high availability in AWS on an RDS. Let's suppose multiple database. Problem is the underlying server where the database hosted fails, the database can become unavailable, leading to potential data loss. So the downtime of the business, then we go with the multi availability zones where the backup is there. The data will continuously be replicated. Health checks will be performed. In case of failure, we'll have an automatic follow. So benefits, reduced downtime, fault tolerance, and scalability. So these are all the different stuff. All right. Any questions you can ask? Thank you very much for your patience and interaction. Take care. I'll see you next week. God bless. Thank you.